Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are joining us here in Risen Esports, and it's week 6 with Michigan Blue versus Utah State Esports. I am Verdant Chaos, and I'm joined by Abba Trombone. Say hi, Abba.
Hello, how's it going? It's going to be a lovely series of games going through here. Some relatively high play. It was like flat to diamond roughly for this elo, so we'll be able to see some nice mechanical skills and some good macro coming out of both teams, and some exciting team fights or objectives.
Absolutely. And honestly, just looking at a lot of these players so far, they definitely have a wide champion pool, but as of late, some of these people have been really focusing and honing in on some of these champions across the board. Like another person in particular is Fallentine. You look at it, they have 88 games of Xayah this season alone at a 64% win rate. This is just absolutely crazy seeing that at this point.
Xayah's pretty strong right now. I believe she's going to be getting some nerfs up and coming, but she enables a lot of anti-dive comms, and in the late game, she can just press her W and just really do a lot of damage just to objectives or to players, depending on how well they're going to be able to kite here, do a lot of damage. And they're able to get some nice short trades early on. Of course, the laning phase is super weak, so maybe they'll let the Xayah go through and get an early lane bully like Caitlyn if they end up not getting banned, or someone else that can punish the weaker side.
So, kind of looking at the far side of things, you have Poke Pro, and you have Poke Pro and Fanghua. They kind of like to go this Senna Tom combo piece. Do you think that they're going to be allowed to get that in this set? Like, I know that was really viable. Like, I believe it has been now 5 or 6 patches ago. I don't think it necessarily completely died out, but there's been other more powerful things. Do you think it's going to still be viable here in this pickup?
Well, it's going to be a little bit harder with Xayah being you can just E, and that root's going to last longer than that slow you're going to be getting out of Tahm Kench. Of course, Tahm Kench doesn't necessarily care as much. He's going to be able to sustain, go in, hit Xayah, or he can just jump on their support, which is probably going to be in another Enchanter, I believe, to pair with it. Go in, do a lot of damage, and get some neat trades. And when you're a healing lane, you're okay to take a little bit of damage, go back up, and of course you have some decent scaling, and Famine Senna is pretty good.
So I guess you kind of bring up the aspect of healing. Do you need to, if you were that like support wise, do you need to bring? I'm sorry. Oh no, it's all good. Sorry, we're gonna be getting right into draft, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I missed that. But we're going to be having Victor and J4 possibly coming out immediately, which I think are two very smart pickups. You have, and on the side of, I believe it is, looking at it, Utah, they definitely have a lot of Victor gameplay. So I think it's a very smart ban from them. King Bane Teeb is quite strong on him. And what's that? Oh, Utah is blue. My apologies. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Mitch for Michigan Tires, I guess.
Yes, Mitch for yeah. I was gonna say both sides actually are fairly good at Victor, so I think that's a fairly decent thing.
Yeah, he's also just a pretty good control mage right now, able to get a little bit of peeling, scale pretty well, do some damage, and of course has some decent wave push as well, trying to prevent any roams there or set up any roams himself. And when you're able to get a lot of this farm and play safe mid lane, Victor's going to do a lot of damage. So it makes sense to have a decent ban there as well. And speaking of roams here, with that Ashe ban, getting some of that vision with your Hawk shot, seeing where the jungler is, being able to play around that, and getting a lot of slows as well to that champion. And the ultimate is nothing to ignore. Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's a lot of CC to go with it. And with all of these bans coming together, it looks like we're kind of fighting for the bot lane here with supports and AD carries getting banned alike.
So right now, that's going to be an instant snap pick for the Udyr on the side of Utah here. And
yeah, I don't think that clock went down at all. Just bam.
Like Udyr is very strong right now. I mean, you still have your kind of tankier AP junglers. I mean, I know Maokai definitely took a hit recently, and a lot of the games that we like, you and I have even personally casted, there have been just a lot of people picking Maokai or Udyr instant snap pick. So I'm not surprised to see the Udyr coming out right out of the gate. But now they're going to be returning with a Zeri, and I think they might be going for a possible Lulu pickup, just because the Zeri Lulu combo is quite strong here at this point.
Yeah, shields on Zeri really do help. Being able to get some kite, a little bit of peel off, of course, and if they end up going with the Lulu pick, just being able to polymorph Udyr is pretty important. He just kind of runs at you, and if you're able to kite stuff out and get away, you don't get as much out of that pick as you would normally get. And it looks like you've correctly predicted the Lulu to come out here. A strong pair coming out of the bot lane. But Michigan's kind of shown their hand here exactly what they're going to be picking with their bot lane, which is going to shape how their team's going to go, which means Utah is going to be able to respond back knowing what the bot lane is going to look like, because these champions are pretty much stuck where they're at and going to be returning with a Jinx Nami.
So Utah is just ridiculously decisive here. They just picked the Jinx Nami like instantly here. They definitely came into this knowing what they wanted to do, and I picked those out right away. And we're going to be Sejuani coming in here with a pickup, which I think Sejuani is a very strong champion. Has definitely a weird flex potential into the top lane if you so desire. I don't think we're necessarily going to be seeing that at kind of this echelon of play. I think it's quite rare to see a Sejuani. Oh, it's going to be a Nocturne pickup, which I don't think is bad, but right now it seems that Michigan would like to do a little bit of dive here with the Nocturne, or turn out the lights to do some other powerful ultimate combo.
Yeah, for sure. Jinx is pretty immobile by themselves. The only sort of self-peel they have is traps. And with Nocturne Shield, they're just going to be able to stick on and do a lot of damage to Jinx, which is currently a lot of their composition. Of course, Nami, as an enchanter, is going to have some peel and some extra movement speed if you go through any of her abilities as well. Both of these lanes are going to be able to trade a little bit, and they smartly picked on the side of Utah a champion that heals rather than shields when trying to trade, because that's just going to be benefiting Zeri there. So we'll have to see with bot lanes both picked out and jungles both picked how things are going to be played here. Are we going to be giving counter pick to the mid laner on the side of Michigan, or are we going to be giving it to top lane? My prediction would be top lane, just because of how matchup dependent those can be. But I've been wrong before. I've seen people favor the mid lane because of how potent that lead can get in the mid lane and how important that lane is in general. It enables a lot of teams, can round out some teams as well. And that's a shorter laning phase, so you're able to get some earlier invades there and try and snuff out the jungler while you have a lead and not give them any breathing room.
So if I had to guess here, I'm going to guess Syndra, because she's a very good... Okay, they're just going to be picking up Ornn. Ornn's very good, enables a lot of your skilling for the late game, has a lot of kind of peel options or engage options, so I think Ornn is very versatile, and it really helps for your scaling for late. But I was going to say, I would think Syndra is pretty good, very good control mage, and Victor's out of the pool. So one of her kind of biggest competitors for lane is out. So that'd be a fairly decent pickup. But we're going to be having Utah here, going to be using more of their time this time and not going to be instant snapping some of these picks here. But okay, they're going to be picking Camille into Ornn.
Yeah,
Camille can be a pretty rough matchup for him.
There's a lot of games they ended up having on Camille, so that's a lot of damage that's coming out there. It's not a very nice matchup for Ornn, so hopefully Michigan is going to be able to get a counter pick onto this Sylas here. They also have a decent number of games on Sylas with a good win percent as well. So Camille's going to be able to split push this game out and try and set up some of these fights. If they end up going with like a TP Ignite or something like that, that's really going to enable that, prevent Ornn from getting any levels, any scaling, and trying to prevent some of these ornaments going onto champions to give them even more of a lead as well. Although I will give points to you, Verdon. You did predict Syndra. Syndra is a pretty good later end. It rounds out some comps, gets you some of that wave push, and really you get a lot of utility out of it as well. Scales pretty decently, getting some of those stacks there, getting your abilities to be even stronger as well. And you can prevent some more dive as well, which we're kind of seeing on both teams.
So right now, just instant first snap thoughts. Who do you think has the better end of the draft?
The better end of the draft, I would think, would go over to Utah. I like their composition just a little bit more. They were able to respond to the bot lane pick a little bit more. They have a winning top lane match. And Sylas has some really nasty ultimates to steal.
I think I would have to side with you a fair bit here. I think it's going to be definitely it's going to be up to the execution, I believe, of Camille and Silas. I think Udyr's definitely going to be important here. But right now, Utah wants to go front to back, but they have potential to like flank and potential to get on Zeri. If Camille's able to get her ultimate onto Zeri, Zeri's going to have a hard time getting away from that and can get picked out quite easily. Cinder is going to be trying to shove that away, but the unstoppable proc from Camille might make it a little bit too tough for them to get away. Obviously, Wild Growth from Lulu might help her out for some of those situations, or Polymorph really putting in the work here. But if you're focusing a lot on that backline, you can have the Nami tidal wave coming through and really disrupting your team fight.
Yeah, and the movement speed also gets increased if your teammates go through it as well. Something
yes.
that not everyone's necessarily aware of, so I want to point that out. Really helps set stuff up, whether you're trying to run away or trying to get a good setup. Being a lot of the damage is going to be on Syndra and Zeri. Of course, Nocturne's going to be doing a lot of damage as well, but depending on if it's going to be dive versus counter dive, or everyone's going to be fitting into a nice little death ball and trying to see who rolls over who, I would give the edge over to University of Utah.
I think an important thing, you're talking about death balls, like University of Michigan, if you fight them in any like choke points and any of the like jungle confined areas, I think Michigan does technically win that because you have Call of the Forge God. That is like you have all those brittle procs being possibly picked up there, being able to really just knock them all up. You're able to really play that front to back. You're able to throw the Orin on the front side. And Syndra, it's kind of hard to miss some of that skill shot like later on in the game. I think it has like a 45 percent like degree variance for Syndra's was it shove on the balls.
Large.
Yeah, it's massive. So it's like that's going to be hard for them to really dive into this back line if they're able to play in some of these more confined areas. But if they want to play for a ramming mid or something of that nature, or like definitely for like a river fight, it might not go as well as some of those tighter confined choke points.
That is true. It is also worth noting that Jinx's traps do, zappers, I should say, kind of closes out an entire segment as well, which can make it a little bit harder. And it's easier to land Nami's skill shots as well. So both teams are going to be able to do this, which means vision is going to be very important. Whoever's going in blind is going to be a little bit more dangerous. You can't see those skill shots and react to them as fast, which means you're going to be hit, which is going to be a disadvantage there as well. And if your teammates are already there and some are just straggling behind, you will obviously have a numbers advantage as well. One thing to note is Syndra's range is going to be outranging a lot of people. Jinx is really the only decently ranged champion that the University of Utah has, but Michigan also has Syndra and some of these longer extensions with Nocturne, if you want to consider him a little bit more long range with his ultimate, as well as Ornn. Zeri is a little bit medium ranged as well, but can kind of kite out some of these champions as well when she gets as much movement speed, especially if she ends up taking Ghost.
So, we kind of talked about top lane, how that's going to be going out. I think we understand how mid lane is going to be going down pretty easily. This bot lane right now, you have the classic Zeri Lulu combo versus Jinx Nami. How do you think this is going to fare? Because I've always personally seen Nami as more of this early game enabling style support, but she's going to be working with Jinx, who's more of that late game. Is there a little bit of dissonance there, or will that work out effectively?
Nami's E can be procced off of auto attacks or abilities, so Jinx has some decent trading patterns. She's going to be able to push decently with her rockets if she wants to, or she can just go with a double call lane. These could just be farm lanes, because both of these lanes just want to trade for the most part. Trade, get an advantage there, and just farm up, because items are so important on Jinx. Once you've hit your 2-3 item power spike, you get a lot of return on your stats. And of course, a shield bow is a pretty strong power spike on Zeri. So once she hits that item, she'll be stronger than Jinx at that point with the first one.
All right. Well, with this analysis done, we are going to be getting right back into it. We're going to be going to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be getting into Game 1 shortly. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into game one. This is Utah on the side of blue versus Michigan, which is on the side of red. So, kind of looking at these, for the most part, I'm seeing fairly usual summoners and keystones. I'd maybe say the only notable exception I would say is Azen on Silas. Do you think it's a good idea to take First Strike into a ranged matchup?
You do have a 3-second window to return some of that damage in there, so it's entirely possible that he's going to be able to get that up and try and get some of those power spikes. His level 3 all in is going to be a little bit more potent if it's up to try and get it on Syndra. Of course, he doesn't have Ignite though, so I don't think he's going to be playing around that, so I'm not entirely sure why you would want First Strike other than the potential gold generation. But with how things are going to be playing out with Syndra's a massive range advantage, that I don't think is going to be the most beneficial there.
So, we're now looking at both junglers. They both took Gust Walker into this matchup, which I think is fairly decent. I don't necessarily understand. I guess on the side of Shadow Phoenix, I guess that enables more of these kind of solo ganks. But if you're using your ultimate, you really get on top of them. So I'm surprised not to see kind of the green or the red one here. Do you think that's going to be a little bit difficult for Nocturne come late game, or do you think that's just going to be fine enough getting that extra movement speed out of brush?
That extra movement speed out of brush is going to be able to help because a lot of these teams just want to be kind of running away. Udyr kind of runs at you fast. Camille's got a nice dash as well. Silas has a dash. And of course, Jinx, when she gets excited, has a lot of extra movement speed. So that could really help enable a lot of what Nocturne's trying to do here. So I think that makes a decent amount of sense.
So right now we're just going to be seeing a lot of poking here in this top lane. Camille, I think, is going to be coming on the slightly better end of it. Obviously, she's going to be countering Ornn out, but then she also has her shield passive, but she's going to be able to just E off the pillar any single time that Ornn creates that. So he's going to be definitely having a tough time in this lane trying to get some of these brittle procs going.
Yeah, both of those laners really wanting to trade with their keystones, get some extra HP, get some extra scaling there. That's a lot of damage that we saw coming out of there, but the damage there on return coming out of Syndra as well, a little bit more difficult. And when you're this low as the range advantage, you'll be able to poke and prevent XP going on the enemy laner. A lot less safe as well.
Ooh, that's going to be Ghost coming in from 5th business there.
Yeah. Pushing up there when you're low is a bit dangerous, but when your opponent's also low, wanting to stand there and poke certainly is an option as well. Trying to make sure they don't get a good reset while you can. That was an excellent disengage.
Ooh,
coming
right
up.
now, Stepfather's getting quite close. Azen might be falling here. Azen's going to have to flash away. That's good pickup by Stepfather. Honestly, it's looking pretty good so far on the side of Michigan here. They're able to go for a full clear for Nocturne. They're able to spot out the Udyr on an early ward. And now that's a level 4 Nocturne, and Udyr is going to have to walk away from the scuttle, knowing that he doesn't have the levels to really contest Nocturne here on it.
And don't forget about the TP advantage coming out of mid lane as well. The range versus melee matchup coming into fruition there. It looks like we're getting a similar gank on the side of Michigan as well here, trying to get some of that extra blood. The first blood, getting some of that extra gold there.
Pokey's looking for a possible play here. Valentine's going to have to flash away. And they're low mana, low health. They absolutely are going to have to leave here. And maybe an unfavorable state here. They aren't able to get either jungler into the bot and near the bot lane. And this is going to be Azen trying to stop some of these backs here, but it's going to be taking a fat chunk of damage in response to that.
Yeah, both sides there were low on mana, but Michigan ended up having the wave shoved here as well. So even though they're low, they're going to be able to get a better reset and deny a cannon wave here. And as Jinx, you really want a lot of that farm, trying to scale up and get a lot of that damage up. When you're already down to 7 CS, that is not really good, especially when the enemy laner thinks it's safe enough to go cull here and try and outfarm you.
So right now we're going to be seeing, like as you said, Zeri going call. So both these, she's just kind of thinking in her mind that, hey, she's going to be able to scale into this game. No sweat, no problem. I got this. It's easy. And kind of like thinking about scaling into this game, I don't think much is going to be happening top. I think Camille's going to try to be poking him out, but I don't know if she's going to be able to pick up a kill on Orin. He's playing this very passively, just very nonchalant. He's just going to be slowly building his items with the Living Forge. So I think this might be a bit of a handshake here on the top side, unless we get some jungle pressure.
Well, with the way the resets are shaping up to be, it looks like TP isn't going to be needed as well. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a handshake, with Rift potentially coming up here soon as well. They might be playing for that. Or with the way Udyr's hovering here and they're fighting over mid and bot lane, they could also be trying to go for the Ocean Drake, which first Drake, it's a little bit harder to take as you kind of want some of these resets, but with both bot sides taking them, it's a little bit safer to go with them, but the vision isn't quite set up, so it's a little bit harder for them to take.
All right, with the side of Michigan, probably I would say scaling later, just because you have the ornaments coming out. Also, Zeri and Syndra go very, very hard into the late game here. Would they want to focus the Dragon more for set? Ooh, actually, I thought Lo the Man and Bazinga were going to be going at it. Okay, seems like they're just going to be going for a little tit for tat there. But do they want to focus Dragons, or would they rather go for Herald to accelerate their game? Oh, right now, Azin's trying to go in on Stepfather. Shadow Phoenix coming in from Silence because it's going to be a flash in from him. Azin's getting low, and that's going to be stunned, and that's going to be Stepfather picking up the first blood here in the mid lane. Fifth going to be running into the lane, going to be picking up some of these, some of the CS, but Stepfather going to be really taking the advantage here.
Yeah, first blood at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Pretty nice getting the level advantage there. The wave kind of being in the middle, and with the way the wards ended up placing out, they were a little bit vulnerable, got caught out, and ended up dying there. Extra gold on the scaling side, already sitting at over 1,000 gold at 7 minutes, is a nice, decent lead. Not the end of the world on the side of Utah, to be sure, but with the difference being what it is, that's kind of important. We're sitting at like 500 of that roughly being in the mid lane and 200 of that being in the bot lane, which are very important carries on the side of Michigan. And for the side of Utah as well, that gold deficit on Jinx is important.
Right now, I think an important thing to be. Oh, right now, Bazinga is going to be looking for that, but the ultimatum coming in from Lo the Man, and he's going to be dodging the second proc of Call of the Forge God, doing a very, very good job dodging away from that, and going to be picking up the kill onto Bazinga here in the top lane.
Yeah, Sheen does a lot of work there, especially when you have refillables. Excellently played, getting a lot of good value out of that ultimate, out of the shielding as well. The extra gold is going to be important on Camille, and the way the wave is going to be shoving here, they're going to be losing a little bit on Ornn as well, especially because he's going here bot lane with his TP up.
So right now, we have Stepfather in a little bit of a precarious situation. Fanghua and Shadow Phoenix is trying to help their team much as they can, but now you have PokePro coming in, and this is going to be a 4v4, but Dragon's kind of getting low here, and that's going to be ultimate coming out of the Nocturne. He's going to be full diving in towards the Dragon, and that Dragon's going to be going over to the blue side, but now we have an all-out scrum there in the middle of the drag pit. Azin's going to be getting one pickup, but then he's going to be slowly getting whittled down, and that's going to be going 2 kills over to Bazinga here. So he definitely died himself here on the kill top side, but he's going to be getting 2 in the bot side. So well played by Bazinga there.
Yep, both junglers dying there. The Dragon going over onto Utah, trying to get some of that extra gold, objective gold. Rift Herald going up here soon as well. Extra rock there. Very important with how Ornn is setting this up.
So right now it's going to be Bazinga versus Fanghua, but Fanghua is only level 5, and they have massive level difference here. Az is going to be coming in as well. This is probably going to have to be Bazinga Flash. He's getting quite low here. Call the Forge God coming through. He's going to be getting over the wall. Going to be hitting the blast cone. He's out of there, ladies and gentlemen. But now it's going to be probably an easy pickup for Rift Herald for Utah.
Yeah, this second objective is going to be some extra gold on the side of Utah, which is going to be important to close some of this gold deficit, which is already hitting close to 2k at 1.8k. Trying to get some of those extra plates is going to be like getting an extra kill here, and that's going to be able to enable some of the possible split pushes we might be seeing on top side, or unlocking some of these other lanes like mid or bot. Very important here as well.
So right now we have both objectives going over to the side of Utah here. Is this a little bit of a disaster for the side of Michigan, or will this be fine?
I think it will be fine. They had to commit a lot of resources there. Speaking of resources, it looks like
Ooh.
Low the Man is getting cut out a little bit, taking a lot of damage there. It kind of needs a reset, but with the way the wave is, going to be caught out like mid lane.
That's going to be him getting low, and that's going to be the ultimate coming in from Stepfather, taking him down, giving him a beating. But now Bazinga's going to be going down here in the top side, going to be giving a shutdown to Fifth Business. And that's going to be a bit of gold exchange kind of for both teams. But honestly, the side of Utah is going to be taking the upper hand there, getting the shutdown.
Yeah, we knew where the jungle was going to be on the side of Michigan. It was obviously in the mid lane, so we knew we had a numbers advantage trying to get Low the Man a little bit ahead, getting him that wave as well. Some important XP and gold there as well, sitting at around a 30 CS lead, which is decently significant at this point, especially with the laning phase coming close to a close. 14 minutes is usually when the early game ends up being done, unless an early tower ends up falling. This early game is going to bleed into the mid game and really shape how things are going to be going. And with still having a gold lead on the side of Michigan, that's going to help them out on the scaling side.
Absolutely. So right now, as you kind of before mentioned, and we knew that Ornn is going to be countered in lane. So right now, this is going to be leading to and that's going to be Camille getting the mythic item well before he gets his, and that's going to be Divine Sunder, which I think is going to create an even greater disparity in the top lane.
Yeah.
Because she's just going to be able to kind of poke him out, keep healing it all back, and the only healing he really has is these grass procs, and obviously his natural inbuilt regen. But right now we're looking, and might look a little bit dicey here in the bot lane here. We have Fifth Business walking through this, but Nocturne's going to be watching for it. That's going to be both teams diving at each other. That's going to be PokePro getting Kiama here going down immediately. Phoenix getting quite low, but he's going to be getting out, getting a flash away. Valentine is unable to get the pickup there with the Super Mega Death Rocket. That's going to be a double pickup for PokePro here, but now there's going to be Azen going in on mid lane. That's going to be Ultimate coming in. He's unable to get the pickup. Oh, that's going to be a flash away. That's going to be a massive heal, and that's going to be Azen getting the return kill onto Stepfather, returning that beating he was earlier taking. And that's going to be a shutdown onto Stepfather.
Yeah, Zeri was able to really peel stuff off. That was very well played by both junglers going in. And then, of course, the return came with Business sitting in a bush, trying to get some return, making it a 3v3. Gold speaking for the fight there. And a 3-0 there, pretty important. Missing the 1v1. Excellent flashes coming out of Azen, getting some kills there. And of course, Lul is sitting here just kind of harassing the top laner. Divine Sunder is a very important mythic. Try and get on there. Although it looks like we have a lot of faith in Lul just winning this lane. So trying to unlock mid here, making sure that Silas is going to be able to roam and change how some of these numbers are going to be going is an important thing on the side of Utah. That's going to enable some of these numbers advantages when you're at a goal deficit.
Absolutely. But like what we saw across the board was we saw that Michigan won a lot of these fights. So obviously you have a lot of money put on the Camille, so we're definitely going to need her to have a lot of impact in this game.
Yeah, Camille's probably going to be sticking to some sort of a 1v1 me bro lineup here with a nice split with the TP Ignite and getting a lot of damage here, potentially getting a plate, but it's 14 minutes, so it's just going to have to settle with a kill here. Yeah. The Forge God not coming in sooner enough, and the TPs are going to be upgraded here, and more importantly, he's not going to be able to teleport here to get this second dragon. Two dragons that scale nicely off of each other with Kendrake getting you some extra shielding and healing, and of course Ocean Drake getting you some extra healing, and with Earth Drake as well, Mountain Drake, I should say. That's extra resistances, which is really nice when the enemy has a Black Cleaver on their Nocturne. Just going to make sure you're going to be able to survive a little bit more and win some of these fights. That being said, all the objectives that are going on. Oh my gosh!
That's going to be lights coming out, and they're going to be able to push away from this battle. Kiama's getting the ultimate coming out. Kiama getting quite low, and Stepfather's going to be getting the pickup with the ultimate, and just the ball's coming in, just absolutely laying waste to Kiama there.
Yeah, just balling in the mid lane here, getting the ultimate off of it on Azen, Oh no, not an Azin, my apologies. Onto the Nami there, getting an extra kill, meaning you can rotate to some of these fights with a known numbers advantage.
So right now, looking on the side of Utah, actually they're really getting scrappy here. Right now, Low the Man might be caught out. He has level 11 here. That's gonna be fifth business. Gonna be taking a lot of damage, trying to run away best he can. But now they're gonna be returning on Low the Man. Low the Man's gonna get the wall hop here. And now they have a TP coming in from the backside. Azin's going to be coming in. He's going to be stealing the ultimate. The Chaotic Surge, he's going to be getting Fenghua. Fenghua and Poki's trying to get out best he can, getting some of this damage through. Bazinga is going to be going down as well. Low, and that's going to be another pickup for Azin. Azin's going to be getting a double kill here. And now you have the second Rift Herald coming through. And this is going to be just multiple kills going into another objective for the side of Utah Gaming.
Yeah, let's think about this for a moment real quick. Utah has a gold deficit of about 1,000 to 2,000 for a lot of these fights, but they end up winning these with how their comps built some of their earlier game, especially when Azin's able to steal that ultimate and really use it and get a lot of kills there.
Right now, we might be seeing... I think I'm pretty sure that just Valentine going to be getting out here. He can't really do much at this point. This is going to be called the Forge God, going to be putting a lot of damage into Kiama, but right now it's just fifth business by himself, and he's going to be picked up again by Shadow Phoenix. Going to be getting both of these pickups here. Going to be giving him more and more gold. Right now it's 3-1 and 6 for the Nocturne, and he has a lot of items here, but there's going to be a fight here on top side. Azin's 2 levels up on Bazinga, despite Bazinga being in top lane and not kind of taking an EXP debuff here, but that's going to be called the Forge God coming in from Azin. He's going to be putting a lot of damage, and he's going to be getting the pickup here on the top side. Now he's on a rampage. Wow, yeah, what a turnaround for that lane.
Yeah, that's a definite turnaround. We also got first tower, or another tower, I should say, in mid lane. Bot lane also is missing a tower on the side of Michigan, and of course, Michigan has taken mid tower as well. So both of these lanes are going to be a little bit more vulnerable. Getting caught out here. Oh, the Death Rocket Knight doing it, but the Ignite plus the little dash there with Camille. Her split push is phenomenal. Like, Camille does a lot there, so it makes sense with the summoners, with the build she has. She's going to be getting probably kind of close to a second item here with the amount of gold, CS, kills, all this lane pressure, and all the objectives coming out here. Very important, and we're almost to a neutral game state here with how the gold lead has been going, but we're out of mana!
Low the Man's, like you said, out of mana, has no ultimate, and that's going to be Shadow Phoenix putting in a lot of damage here. Low is trying to get away best he can, but the red buff is going to be quite brutal for him to get away from the situation. Kiama's going to be committing the tidal wave here, unable to save his teammate, and Azin's just going to be getting on the top side of the map, but now we have Dragon coming up here soon. And I would think probably in about like minute and a half or so. And so right now, I think this is going to be an important team fight. Right now, Fenghua and Poki is going to be going through getting rid of a lot of this vision, but this is going to be the third dragon of the game. We're going to be seeing what our soul is here.
Yeah, it's going to be close to 30 to 45 minutes. We already know it's going to be Mountain Soul because we already have 2 dragons taken here as well. It's important to note that Utah ended up going with a 1-3-1 split, right, with Lull going bot lane, Azin going top lane, and then the rest of the team committing into the mid lane, which isn't something I necessarily predicted out of this comp, but it looks like they've been able to get a lot of objective values out of here. And Soul is definitely a good win con with how they want to be doing stuff. They don't have necessarily a lot of gold on Udyr for their front line, but they've been able to get gold elsewhere and a lot of pressure elsewhere as well. They don't necessarily have to team fight these out.
So right now that's going to be Azin picking up the Chaotic Surge, and right now they're kind of all clumped together, but that's going to be Lights coming out, and that's going to be called the Forge God coming through, and that's going to be getting a lot of knockups here. And right now Azin's going to be getting the Chaotic Surge, trying to get a lot of this damage out. The Unleashed Power coming through, going to be getting a pickup there. But right now, that's just going to be a lot of people going on down. But fifth business, trying to get a lot of these stuns off. Bazinga by himself, unable to do anything else. But now it's only, that's going to be the entire side of Michigan going down. And Utah is going to be winning this team fight yet again.
So Call of the Forge God actually didn't hit anyone from what I noticed. It just barely missed the Nami. And with the Chaos Surge coming out of Azin, doing a lot of damage. And Jinx being able to utilize her fish bones, do a lot of rocket damage there. Very important. they can extend this into the mid lane, pressure it. They probably aren't going to. Oh, no, it's 20 minutes. They're going to be able to take the inhib
Yeah.
just fine. And Udyr take the third dragon for Soul Point, which is very important. The reason why I bring out 20 minutes is because this is when cannon waves are going to be coming out a lot more often than they are in the earlier games. So if you end up taking inhib, that means...
Ooh, that's going to be TP coming in, but if he does have smite, yeah, he just gets that. That's going to be Udyr trying to run away best he can. Fifth business, maybe in some possible trouble. Has a lot of speed up here. Are they going to be able to get the damage down? That's going to be smites coming in, and Shadow Phoenix is going to be getting the pickup there. That's going to be the only return kill that they get on the side. Oh, they might find Az, and Az is going to be looking for the aggressive play.
Oh.
Stepfather getting quite low, and the Unleashed Power's unable to really get a pickup there. Azin's going to have to do a 1v4 here, but that's going to be a TP coming in from Low the Man. Are they able to get the pickup beforehand? That's going to be Call the Forge God getting a double knockup here. And Poke Pro's trying to get as much damage in as possible. That's going to be Polymorph. Low the Man's getting quite low, and he's going to be taking Shadow Phoenix with him before he goes down. But that's going to be Poke Pro getting that kill on him, so that's going to be a lot of XP. But now they're going to be going on to Bazinga here. Kayama's throwing in the tidal wave. That's going to be double flashes, and Poke Pro is going to be having to dash over the walls, getting away from all this damage.
Just barely dodging the abilities there. A big chunk out, and with everyone being so low and the jungler coming up on the side of Utah, business being alive there, but Phoenix being down, they could possibly take this Baron, and the TPs aren't really that up other than for Syndra. Could try and do a cheeky steal here, but that's going to be a little bit risky. So it looks like we're just going to be protecting our waves, making sure Utah doesn't get as much out of it. And they're sitting here at about a 3k gold lead, which is very important. We saw them winning a lot of these fights earlier with a gold deficit and with a gold lead. That's very important. And especially when you have such an objective lead, sitting at more towers, sitting at more Rift Heralds, sitting at more Barons and Dragons as well. Being able to pressure the enemy team out here.
Uh-oh, Bazinga's trying to go in 1v3 by himself, and that's going to be Call the Forge God picked up by Azin. But this is going to be Valentine going to be picking up Bazinga here. And now they might be going in for Poke Pro. Going to be getting the knockup on him. Going to be diving under. The Wild Growth coming through. That's unable to save him. Azin's just going to be running through that team. And right now, that's going to be a lot of their team quite low. Stepfather's trying to get up best he can. That's going to be Fenghua going down as well. And that's going to be Phoenix and Stepfather kind of licking their wounds, tucking tail, and really running out of this fight.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming out here. They were able to get the top tower there as well, catching a lot of these even in their own base. Are this Fountain going to be able to save them there, or are they going to be dying in the well? Oh, looks like
it is
just a little bit further.
It's quite hard to tell.
The towers going down and the Nexus going as well. That's going to be game for Utah as well. We did give them the edge, so we certainly expect that. Very well played. Low the Man getting a lot of pressure out there. And that 1-3-1 split did very well in getting a lot of pressure, a lot of objectives, and setting them up as well.
All right. Well, that was a very exciting game one that really kind of was going back and forth for a while, but Utah is able to kind of take that match. But with that in mind, who do you think really performed the best on both squads?
Low was able to create a lot of pressure, and even at a numbers disadvantage, was still able to kind of duck in, trade, weave in and out. They, of course, had a winning lane, but they were able to utilize that lead as well. But also, Valentine was able to get a lot of value as well. They were a little bit behind earlier on versus their laning opponent, but they ended up getting a lot of kills, and once they finally got some of the items that they needed, they were able to get a lot of value there as well. So I think it actually might be that is what really pushed things over rather than just Low the Man.
Well, with that post-game analysis in mind, we are going to be right back as we get ready for Game 2. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting right into Game 2's draft, and we're going to be switching sides here. And University of Michigan is going to be switching over to the blue side, and Utah is going to be going over to the red. And that's going to be their first ban onto J4 again. Not a quite surprise. That's going to be a snap pick from Utah, and that's going to be banning that Victor. We don't want to see that. Get those control mages out of here.
Yeah, a lot of similar bans coming out of here. We'll have to see how things are going to be adapted, if at all. Maybe they thought it wasn't the bans. Maybe they just need to adjust their comp a little bit. We did give an advantage over to Utah there. So they could just be trying to adjust how things are going. Maybe game one was just a little bit more of a warm-up for the side of Michigan, trying to get an advantage there. We could also maybe just see some other potential bans. Maybe they thought the Camille was too much of a threat, or maybe they just didn't like the amount of peel that the team was able to get there. So we'll have to see if any of these other bans are going to change at all, or if they're just going to say, hey, we have priority pick, we're going to do something that's going to make us win. Let's get a favorable lane now and get some of that advantage right out of the draft phase.
So far, that's just going to be the same bans for the University of Michigan coming on out. Not surprised there. And that's going to be the same from Utah. So we're going to be just getting right into it. And as you aforementioned, I think that the Proud pick is going to be possibly changing. No, they're just going to be snap picking the Nami here. And Nami kind of just works with a lot of ADCs, obviously, just enabling it across the board. We definitely saw that with Jinx in last game. But they just played a fairly consistent bot lane. They didn't really feed many kills. There was a few times in which Nocturne was able to get into the bot lane, but for the most part, they were able to just play it out nice and safely and really win the game there and just go for objective gaming. Yeah, that's going to be Utah picking up the instant just snap pick of Seraphine Sona. Wow.
So it looks like we're going to be getting a Lucian here. It would make a lot of sense just being able to try and nuke a support. Now, one of the things we didn't necessarily mention into the last draft is we did see a Senna Tom Kench pick who tries to get a lot of healing and trading out that way. And you're going to get a similar effect out of Seraphine Sona. Seraphine most likely being the carry here, both doing a lot of damage, being able to poke and trade stuff as well. Seraphine's Encore is going to be able to peel stuff just like Nami is going to be able to, although the range will change a little bit on who's going to have an edge there, depending on how many targets Seraphine's able to hit, especially when Encore goes on as well on Sona. So it's a lot of CC and healing we're coming out here as well, which means Nocturne's gonna be a decent return pick, getting some of that vision, or Sejuani as well, trying to soak up some of that damage, peel for their team, and try and get stuff through that way. Important to notice here that Sejuani does not currently have any melee champions here as well, so we'll probably see a top or maybe even a mid lane melee champion, perhaps a Yasuo, but I don't believe I saw either of these teams play a Yasuo.
No.
So we'll have to see what else they end up picking. Maybe a Fiora?
Man, maybe. Honestly, now, like if Camille goes through again, I'm kind of surprised. I think it's doubtful. I know that that was played for Utah last game, but I'm getting into this band. They're going to be getting rid of the Silas. They definitely don't want to own it.
Silas was able to get a lot out of that as well.
Do you think it's definitely guaranteed Seraphine ADC? She could be flexed into the mid lane.
She could be flexed into the mid lane. That is true, but she's not really a control mage or some of these other style champions that we've been seeing kind of out of the mid lane. Certainly a potential to go there, but I would predict, based on the play styles we've been seeing through our scouting, that is what we'd be doing. I've been wrong before, though, so I'll have to see if I am wrong.
Wait, you're not infallible?
I'm not infallible, in fact. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it.
Okay,
so.
All right. We're slowly trying to transcend our humanity. Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Pure being of salt, just like what every league player dreams of being.
So we're going to be getting a Zoe ban here. Not surprised. Definitely a lot of, like, if you have a very skilled Zoe, that's very, very hard to deal with at some points. If you are kind of lacking some vision here in some of these side waves, you would just have the paddle star coming in from downtown and just blow you up. One shot doing a lot of damage there. So not surprised. But that's going to be an Irelia ban. They're going to be kind of keeping the same bans Kind of from game 1 to game 2. Obviously, the only notable exceptions are going to be they're getting rid of the Silas and the Camille here instead. But now we're going to be seeing Utah pick here. I think they might throw this over to mid lane. Yeah, that's going to be mid lane. That's going to be going over to Akshan.
Akshan can go mid or top, technically speaking,
Yes, yeah.
depending on how you want to do stuff. So it's a pretty smart pick here. And with how the team's been shaping up, they're going to have a decent range advantage on how they're going to be able to utilize it. Of course, University of Michigan is going to be able to pick how they want to be doing this, which they could pick. I'm trying to say here is what they could force Akshan to be in a losing matchup, no matter what, if they go top or if they go mid lane there at all.
So right now, Annie, I think, is a very strong pick. She's very strong right now. They did do a little bit of hot fixes for her. She when she originally came out after the mild rework, she I think had a 55.4% win rate. So then they tuned a little bit of that down, but she's still quite strong in the meta. That's going to be York pickup from the top side. That's quite interesting to see. I rarely see it kind of York gameplay at this echelon, but I think York is very, very good at split pushing, which Low the Man really seemed to excel at in that last game.
Yeah, forcing out a difficult decision amongst your opponents is really good no matter what level you end up playing. Of course, more skilled players are going to be able to do it better and make better choices, but you can always try and get a winning play with a decent split push, especially if York gets pretty far ahead, which might be difficult with how Riven's going to be able to play jumping out of the little ring that York creates. And she does just so much damage as well.
Just the Noxian Broken Blade, that just brawler absolutely can be quite scary. But I'm honestly worried for the side of Utah. Right now, they obviously have engaged with Hecarim. They really don't have a tank at all. Do you think that they're going to be suffering from that whatsoever, or do you think that they're going to be able to kind of speed in, speed out with Sona and a lot of these champions?
They don't necessarily need to speed in. So if Hecarim goes in and he just horseman runs at you super fast, Seraphine's Encore is going to be able to bounce off of any of the champions he's feared in there, as well as himself, extending the range, hitting so many characters after they've been feared. They'll be charmed to a nice, lovely surprise, and then a lot of damage is going to be able to be followed up from Akshan and Riven as well. So they're going to have a little bit weaker of a bot side, especially in the early game, just because Lucianami is so potent. But they're also going to be able to have a nice mid game as well, with a lot of healing, making sure Hecarim stays healthy, and Akshan and Riven are going to be doing just fine as well. The other thing to consider is that Michigan has so many peel options with Annie stun, with Yorick, just being able to try and slow with the E, getting a nice wall to try and cut some people off who are less mobile, and Sejuani as well can get some nice pickups and prevent some people from going in with her ultimate as well.
So I think that it's going to be very... I think for the side of University of Michigan, if I had to guess, I would say there's going to be probably a 1-4 style game. Sejuani is going to feel a little bit sad because the only person who can kind of enable her frostbite stacks is Yorick. But I don't know if you necessarily want Yorick in all of these team fights. I think he has just massive potential with the Maiden in the side lanes to really just eat through a lot of these towers. But I think Sejuani, if she's able to get the Glacial Prison onto Akshan, Sona, or Seraphine, they're going to definitely be having a hard time for the side of Utah. So I think this is going to be really up to the position of Utah to really perform here.
Yeah, Michigan turns out has a slightly stronger draft side. Blue side does get the prio pick. They're able to kind of get how they're able to make decisions on how things are going to be going through. And of course, both sides picking their top, their AD carries or their AP carries, I should say, as well on the side of Utah, as well as their junglers. They're going to be able to decide how they're going to want to be playing these out. And when you are able to force out a complete bot side comp versus just one support, you're able to start the draft phase and kind of unwind what your team's going to be doing and play around that. And when you have a Hecarim and you just have a couple of enchanters to go with it, you're able to say, hey, so they're probably going to do something like this, and make some good decisions out of that, like with we saw Yorick and Annie trying to make some uncomfortable decisions on the side of Utah. We'll have to see if Utah is going to be able to play things out as well as they did in game one. They were able to use a disadvantage and able to get a lot of gold leads out of that, even though they were behind, and get some of those objectives and start to create some of this pressure on the other side. We'll have to see if their composition is going to be able to do that with it being different for sure than we saw in game one.
I think a big notable, like, kind of exception to this game versus last game is that last one we kind of didn't really see many interesting keystones and summoners. I think this game is really going to bring that to a light here. We have Yorick. Yorick has been recently in some matchups doing a lot of like Arcane Comet, but Arcane Comet's not going to find as much value into Riven, so I'm interested to see what he's going to be going. Annie obviously has a few different options, but so does Hecarim coming out of the jungle. So I think there's just going to be a lot of variance across the board, so I'm excited to see what they bring to this game. But I think Hecarim might be able to get a lot of a lot of tempo early to really scale into this game. But as we kind of wind down here, waiting for the rest of the spectator delay, we are going to be going over to commercial, and we're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen, for game two. Don't go away. We're coming back at you on the Rift shortly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into game two, and right now it looks like University of Utah is going to be looking for a potential kind of play here. They're going to be getting to this tribe rush right now before Michigan, it would seem, and PokePro might be looking to be in some trouble here. And that, yeah, he's just going to go down.
Ignite, yeah,
100%. Just that's going to be Ignite coming in from Kiyama, but that's going to be a kill going over to Valentine. So right now you have a kill on your carry at the 50-second mark, and so it's going to be able to get a back off, be able to stun the skull, and going to be picking up a tier. So that's going to be just quite disgusting here for this bot lane.
Extra mana sustain. Of course, they're going to be down a combat summoner, so they're not going to be able to respond to some of these potential fights at all. Notably, Poke is not using their cleanse there or their flash, so they just kind of recognized, I'm dead. I got caught out. I got cheesed on stream. It happens to everyone, so
To
we'll
the
have
best
to
of us.
see.
To the
Oh
best of
yeah,
us.
oh yeah. Everyone's been cheesed at least once, especially if you're from Wisconsin.
Yes,
And they're
yes,
just gonna be able
sir.
to just trying to get some extra standard setups here. Both junglers going with a bot side here as well. Although, notably, because of the cheese committed there, Raptors was worded. So they're going to know exactly where Heckram's going to be. So business is going to be kind of known where he's going to be going. So these laners are going to know, hey, I might get ganked here and just play a little bit more safe.
Well, I don't think we're going to be seeing much. Ooh, right now, Bazinga is going to be putting in a lot of work, a lot of early damage in the top side, but he does not have Ignite, so if he tries to go for a long fight against Low the Man, he might be at Low is going to be taking the advantage there. Also, Low having Conqueror is going to be very easily stacked on Riven. She's able to get the the auto, the ability and then auto resets, and that's going to be putting in a lot of work. Fangwa is getting low here in the bot side, could be getting the level 2 spike, but not get too much here, but you're going to be getting a lot of the extra damage and healing on the low, but he's going to be starting to poke down by a lot of these ghouls here.
Yeah, the shield can help prevent some of that damage, but isn't going to be enough. It's going to get called out here. It's not going to be first blood, but...
Yeah, Low is going to be having to try to get away from this because he's going to be getting the extra level. That's going to be... Wow, nice dodge from Low. They are going to be getting the stun proc here, and no, it's going to be quite low. That is Ghost coming out from Bazinga, but unable to get the pickup there. And right now, they might be trying to get Low might be trying to return here with their business, and I don't think much is going to be going on there. But Poke Pro is trying to get some of this damage out, unable to get this first strike proc coming through. But now Fifth Business is going to be going in and invading the Sejuani here. But as he's going all in on the Stepfather, that's going to be Ignite coming through, but unable to get the pickup there.
Yeah, a lot of action already happening at 3 minutes. Certainly does not feel like it. Oh, Poke definitely poking the enemy champions there, making sure they burn their mana, trying to heal rather than try and get some return damage on there as well. Of course, Feng is going to be able to heal as well with the Nami pick, trying to get some extra AP heals, get some stacks as well on her spell thieves. Very important to try and get these as well. Although with how mana dependent both Valentine and okay, with both Valentine they're not going to be able to push this wave back in time, which means a reset could be favored for Poke, being he can just auto attack a little bit better than these enchanters.
Well, you do bring up the mana, but hey, you were able to get the kill level 1. You have tier, so you might she is quite low here, but you are going to be able to kind of sustain a little bit more mana than usual. But right now, we're going to be seeing Shadow Phoenix coming in from the top side of the map, but is going to be picked up on the ward immediately. And Shadow Phoenix really just having a hard time. And Shadow Phoenix is really having a hard time trying to find any kills. Couldn't find any in the top lane. Low was able to get out quite masterfully, and then was invaded by the Hecarim, so is now really in a bit of a deficit here in the jungle-wise and unable to find the kill on the bot side. But Poke Pro is going to be going in. Kiama's getting quite low here. That's going to be a flash away from Kiama. Right now, Fifth Business is going in onto Bazinga. Zinga's getting quite low, and I'm pretty sure he's going down. That's going to be going over to Low. And honestly, no rest for the wicked here in the top side. Bazinga is just being found out left, right, and center, and is just going to be taking a lot of deaths throughout both of these games.
Yeah, Bazinga getting caught there as well. And the kill did go over to Low the Man, which we've seen him do pretty well, do a lot of outplays. Very important there. And no kill was returned on the side of Michigan on the bot side of the map, which is very important. Not quite getting it out, getting some important summoners though.
That's going to be flash coming out from Stepfather. And that was, honestly, that was a well-spaced flash there from Stepfather, but that's going to be that very important summoner going down here for the mid lane, and she's unable to shove it back. The Fifth Business is going to be sticking around to help shove this wave in.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to fight over some of these up-and-coming objectives. Of course, Dragon is up right now, and Rift Herald could be short to follow as well with how everything is coming together. But the bot wave is getting pushed out on the side of Michigan here, so they're not going to be able to rotate there as well. And Illusion is just so strong right now with this entire kit. And First Strike is just going to be able to do a little bit more damage. And don't forget about the gold generation that you get out of it. Rather than with press the attack, you get some more burst, but you don't get the gold.
This is going to be possibly a 3v4. Stepfather's going to be coming in from the angle, but now it's going to be 4v4. You have the Akshan coming in with Azen, and they're going to be spotting him out on the ward. But right now, they're still going to be sticking onto this dragon. They're kind of locked into it at this point. Are they able to get the damage? That's going to be Tibbers coming on down on Akiyama, getting him quite low, but Shadow's going to be getting over the wall. That's going to be, wow, a steal. I didn't even realize that. That's going to be Stepfather committing the Tibbers there, trying to get away best he can, but that's going to be a double pickup for Valentine there in that play. So right now, it's just an absolute just nightmare scenario for the side of Michigan with a double pickup from Utah and able to snipe out that dragon.
Yeah, I was giving the edge there mentally towards Michigan being Annie or Stepfather had ultimate there, so they're going to be able to do stuff. They were nice and pumped up on the side of Utah, but that wasn't happening there. And then the dragon got stolen. And with all those kills, they're going to be able to get a nice push into the bot lane here, potentially take some plates or just walk away, recognizing that the jungler is going to be hovering there as well. Just a nice gold lead here, almost to 3,000 at 7.5 minutes. That's a pretty big gap, especially when Seraphine already has 3 kills, a majority of this gold lead going towards the bot lane, which is just 1,000 gold difference, right? Versus a First Strike Lucian on Poke versus Valentine. Pretty potent there. And Azen, they're doing pretty well, sitting there at a 600 gold lead versus Stepfather. And we know how devastating Akshan can be. Even if you take an even team fight, he's going to be able to get those death timers to be, nope, you're at 0, you're back up, start fighting. And they're going to be able to possibly re-engage and get some of those buys back, even if they end up dying in some of these more important later team fights.
So I think also a notable exception to be looking at here in this game, I kind of alluded towards earlier, but Shadow Phoenix was unable to find a lot of those kills, and Fifth Business was able to just rinse through a lot of their camps in the earlier game, and then had level 6 for that fight, while Shadow Phoenix was still at level 4. So like this is quite brutal for the side of Michigan. They just have a lot of level deficits across the board, and obviously gold, as we obviously the net worth here at the top side and top of the screen. But now they're going to be rotating this lead over to Rift Herald, which is going to be just netting them more global gold and also some more local gold on some of these more key players in this match.
Definitely, they are committing 3 players here, and of course a counter push is happening in the bot side, which is very important. They're letting them breathe a little bit more, which means Azen's gonna have to rotate here as well. It could just be a lane swap here. This could be a permanent change for sure with how things are setting up, or it could not.
Ooh, Azen's going to be committing a lot of stuff there, going in with a repel, and that's going to be a flash away from Azen, getting away from all these stuns and the tidal wave. But right now, Bazinga and Lodaman are going to be kind of going at it here, toe-to-toe in the top lane. That's just going to be very hard. That's going to be very hard for him to deal. Yeah, Low is out of mana. You're right.
Just being out of mana there, that does make things quite difficult with your
As Riven, yes.
Oh, no, not as Riven. As in...
Oh, Azen. Okay, gotcha. I thought you were saying that Riven's out of mana. I'm like, yeah, I guess she is. You're not wrong.
Technically,
I can't contest you on that.
She has 0 missing mana. It is vacuously true here. But what's definitely true is this Rift Herald is going to be crashing in here with a decent number advantage.
Oh, that
getting 2 plates.
That just misses the 2 proc. So
yeah, but the minion wave is going to be able to get it as well. And all of that gold went over to Low the Man. That second plate did not go to business at all. So more of a gold lead, and Riven can be strong champion, one might say, in an expert's hands.
Absolutely. But right now, that's going to be Shadow Phoenix, going to be possibly catching out some of the team here, going to be getting the Frostbite proc coming through, get a lot of damage coming into her. She's going to be having to get away from this fight. That's going to be Ignite coming in from Kiyama onto Shadow, having to walk away from this fight. But right now, we're just kind of seeing a little bit of scrap back and forth, trying to get out some of this vision. But Low the Man staying here in this top lane for a very long time. No Maiden to like really have to be worrying out for. But that's going to be Unstoppable coming in from Fifth Business, unable to find the grab onto Bazinga. Bazinga is going to be able to get out here, but they're just going to be trying to shut the lane in. They might be able to get him with the second R. Yeah, they're going to be able to get that. Low the Man able to get the pickup with the second activation of R there. And they're going to be getting in a lot of these tower plates, and Bazinga is just unable to do much against this just absolutely dastardly Riven.
a lot of resources being committed into the top. Of course, you're going to be winning stuff with a 2v1 side. Though the mid lane hasn't getting caught out here, but he might have the damage, although the Ignite's going to be taking it. Mid lane trading, but with both the waves being shoved here, you might just be able to take this second drag on the side Michigan, which is going to prevent any soul from being taken, or at least delaying it. And we're seeing some stacks on Stepfather's Dark Seal, which is pretty nice there as well. Going to be able to get some extra value out of that. Although Michigan's still at a gold deficit here, and it looks like they're not going to be able to take this dragon here with us. How some of these resets are coming into play. A lot of cures, I have to mention as well. 3 of them.
Yeah, that's obviously not surprising to see on the Hecarim. He goes through, he can spend a lot of mana, get the stack up very, very quickly. And obviously your 2 bot laners, they really just kind of go through a lot of their mana. Shadow Phoenix is going to be popping over the wall, trying to get a potential spicy steal here. Oh, that's going to be going over to red, and that's going to be Asin getting the pick up there. That's going to be a flash out, and that's going to be everything really used from Shadow Phoenix. But now we have Lo the Man here in the mid lane. Right now he's getting kind of stunned into oblivion by the Pyro Child. Some of the damage coming out, unable to do anything further. But Lo the Man has Ravenous Hydra here, and that's going to be just massive for the pickups of waves. But right now, Alex is going to be looking a little bit in trouble. That's going to be ultimate coming in. Poke the Man unable to find the pickup, but it's just going to be getting a lot of gold from that first strike. But now they're going to be seeing the return grab from Utah here, possibly on the bot wave. Are they able to get out? That's going to be a flash away from Pokepro, but he's going to be going in further. Pokepro is going to get some of this damage out, but that's going to be a very nice cleanse from Pokepro, getting away from this play.
Yeah, a lot of summoners being blown there for sure, but you got out with your life, which is also very important as well. And you're not super vulnerable, being you do have a dash, which can go through some of these thinner walls as well. But just being even in gold here as well, or I should say farm, is very important. Oh,
that's ultimate coming in from Lo the Man, and he's unable to get the second proc of the ultimate. Right now, that's going to be him and Shadow Phoenix going to be going at it. That's going to be the Glacial proc, but that, I think Shadow is here in trouble. Yeah, the ultimate's going to be coming through. Can he get the pickup? That's unable to get that, but right now, Lo the Man, I think...
Flash is up!
Wow, is just going to be going for the flash and just going to be picking up Shadow Phoenix, unable to get away from this Riven. Lo the Man...
The tower!
Oh, no.
The 2 tower shots!
Stepfather's the only one with kills on the side of Michigan, and is just picking up a lot of these, just in just some of the funniest ways, is just getting the Tibbers, just getting the burn damage. Just, you're going to hell with me. We're both dying, but then now, as it's going to be dying to the tower damage. Yeah.
Hey, a kill is a kill. Very important for
no matter how small. Dr. Seuss. No,
Dr. Seuss.
But right now, Kiamia possibly looking for a grab onto...
Stopping the back there for sure. Okay. You know, just being able to press the Q button and just say, no, you're not backing. You're not going to get your nice, juicy reset after that well-deserved kill coming out of the mid lane. The second Rift Herald is coming out here, which is going to be able to extend some of this. The second one is worth a little bit more than the first one in some of these higher levels plays, as you're able to get more pressure and thus more value than you normally would with just the platings, depending on how things...
Asin's looking to try to go all in here. Is going to be possibly getting the pickup on Pokepro, but he's going to be getting it barely. But right now, Asin's trying to fight for his life, but Fenghua is going to be getting the pickup on, return pickup onto him, and that's going to be a shutdown going over... no, not a shutdown, I apologize. That's just going to be a kill going over to Fenghua, but that's going to be a lot committed by Asin there. That's both sums. That's going to be just everything used for the Lucian here.
Yeah. You know, Utah saying, please don't die here, friends. Utah.
Oh no. Good luck. Oh, Bazinga. I'm sorry, buddy. You didn't have a chance. There's 4 of them.
Bazinga!
Thank you. Good old classic call out to Big Bang Theory there. Thank you very much. But maybe a little bit cursed there on the delivery. But right now, it's going to be Lo the Man going up against the 2 of them here. Is going to be getting the blast code on out. Unable to find anything further, but Bazinga is just having a really hard time here. But this is going to be a 3v4, but I don't know if they can really do much. That's going to be Pokepro trying to come in, see if he can help on this fight, but that's going to be a lot of level difference across the board. You have Lowman, who is the first, who is level 11. You do have Stepfather, but you have Valentine at level 10 already, so it's just quite strong, especially as your carry character.
Yeah, Utah has a 2-level, or actually, sorry, a 1-level lead in the bot lane, one in mid, and one, or not in mid, sorry, in jungle and top, and of course Michigan has one in the mid lane. Oh, the ultimate missing there. They're not going to be able to get a second proc out of here, but they might be able to steal some champions.
That Timber's coming through, able to get a lot of people there. Fifth Business going to be trying to dive into that back line, unable to get anything further, but that Timbers was massive, really going to be forcing him away here. Kiama's getting quite low. And right now, Bazinga's just going to be cramming at just this Maiden into the bot side. Going to be picking up this tower. There's no objective gold and no objective bounties yet. So they're still definitely very much within this game despite the 4K gold lead. But now you have Low the Man going to be matching up against Bazinga here again in this bot wave. Unable to get the grab onto him, but Low's getting kind of poked out here. The Conqueror with the Maiden is quite strong. Oh no, are you going to sacrifice your wife here? It's looking like it. She's getting quite low. And right now is going to be kind of chasing her down this lane. Oh, that's going to be the Glacial proc coming through, but Maiden's going to be falling here. Low the Man's going to get a return grab onto Shadow Phoenix, and he's going to be going down, and he's going to be getting a lot of healing, and Low the Man is just going to be going right through this. And now there's going to be a 4v5 for this dragon. That's going to be third dragon, and this is going to be soul point for Utah.
Yeah, if they're able to take it here, which is looking to be the case, a lot of important resources were spent, so they might be trying to look for a return here. But with Fang getting a back here, it looks like they're just going to be giving it here in exchange. It's very nice to see Bazinga just being able to take a tower there as well, and going up top saying, hey, they're making a play bot, we'll do a cross-map play, trying to get some gold, trying to get some towers there, so they're able to get some pressure, maybe steal some of these jungle camps because Hakram's clearing them so fast, trying to stop some gold going onto him and getting some gold onto them, going to be very important here. They weren't able to quite get the bot tower on the side of Utah, so hopefully some of this objective bounty is going to kind of close a little bit of the 4K gold lead that we're seeing here. Well, it's a little bit more than a 4K gold lead at this point, but it's going to speak wonders for the team.
An interesting thing, I totally missed it this entire time. I just realized that they took the blue jungle pet for Sejuani here. I'm quite surprised that she went with that pickup. She now just completed it. She got the third tier of it. But I'm quite surprised we've seen that coming from her. I would have very much expected a Moss Stomper, seeing as she's kind of your engage tool to really go into that team line. And they have a lot of CC galore coming from them.
That is true. I mean, Gus does give you that little bit of extra movement speed, so just dashing out and then walking a little bit faster, trying to stick onto a target, kite them out, there's a lot of CC skills you need to dodge. And movement speed does help with that for sure, but lockdown also does help that as well with Moss Stomper. So I see merits to both for sure. But with how things are turning out, maybe they should have been going for Moss Stomper. Maybe that would have changed things just a little bit more, but I don't think that is necessarily the case. How these games have been executed. The tent was pitched top lane, and they were able to get a lot out of that, and they weren't able to execute on a double enchanter bot lane and trying to get some kills there, especially with that early invade paying for them. And a lot of these tiers are fully stacked. Tech Rooms isn't quite there, so once those tier items are going to be completed, that's going to be a nice bit of power spike for them, as they're fairly cheap, and you get a lot of power out of them once tier is stacked.
So this might be Maiden going down again, just immediately. Right now you have a very early Ravenous Hydra, you have a early Black Cleaver coming in from Low the Man, and so it's just going to be bringing a lot of raw power to these lanes.
Yeah, it's a lot of power, and it really helps you split as well. So with it just constantly being down means you don't get a lot of value out of it. And technically, you are getting some gold, not a whole lot, but killing some of those pets do get you some money as well. It looks like we're trying to set up for Baron here. This could close out some of the games, or at least get some of these objectives. This is 20 minutes, folks. Baron just came up, and we're already invading the jungle and saying, yeah, we got 5 people. We can take Baron. We got a lot of damage here with Akshan and our double enchanters, and we got a good gold lead here. And let's not forget Low the Man. So we'll have to see if a steal is gonna happen here, or if they're gonna do a counterplay in exchange with all these resistances going down.
But right now, there's going to be Tidal Wave coming through, and that's going to be a full dive, and Bazinga is going to be getting the pickup. But right now, that's going to be Fifth Business trying to get into the back line, but they're getting run down here. Bazinga is going to be trying to get some of these pickups. Pokepro is getting quite low, but Kiama and Feltine just going to be putting in the work against him. That's going to be Fifth Business getting the pickup onto Pokepro. And Bazinga is going to be one of the very few last remaining survivors, and that's going to be Shadow kind of waiting over the wall. But that's going to be a disaster for the side of Michigan. That's going to be 4 of them falling. Right now, you do have Shadow Phoenix, who is the only surviving member. He might be able to get a possible steal here. But all of that was at the cost of Azen. That sadly was the only advantage you could really gain here from this matchup. But right now, that's going to be, wow. Is he able to get the flash? Pick? Oh no! That was so close. There's 60 damage off from possible redemption there, and Shadow Phoenix then going to be going down, unable to get that Baron, and that possibly is going to be your dagger for this game. Right now, this is looking quite grim. I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but that's a 9K gold lead at the 20-minute mark, and that's going to be
with Baron.
Baron, you have Soul coming up here in under a minute.
Well, and it's not just a gold lead here, like 2 levels in the top lane, and then we're already seeing a level deficit in mid lane, which is fairly impressive, but with the bot lane being up 3 levels collectively versus the enemy bot lane, that's also kind of important, especially when you have 0 kills on Poke, who has an early game champion, not able to get some of that gold there, and some of these second items are coming into play, and some of these third items are being built as well, but we don't have that same story coming out of Michigan. And with Soul coming out, that's going to make a lot of these fights more difficult, especially with some of those resources being spent, a lot of summoners as well, but we don't have that story as much on the side of Utah, so they might just be able to pick some people out.
So right now they're just setting up for the vision line, getting it ready, just making sure that Shadow can't even get the steal. But right now they're going to be getting the objective bounty here on the top side. I think they just 100% have to give this dragon. Maybe they try to throw Shadow Phoenix's corpse in there, try to get that possible potential steal. And that's going to be, a charm coming through. And yeah, that's going to just stop you from even getting that kind of happiness there.
That was a lot of healing coming out of that Radiant Virtue. But that's just tower for Soul. A trade for sure, which is something you want to be seeing at a deficit.
Wow. That's gonna be 2 objective bounties picked up on the top side. Right now, you still have York going ham on the top side. Might be going for the 3rd tower. It's not going to be going down quite yet, but that's going to be Azen going to be rotating up there, and he does have the Warden's Mail that might help him against this a lot of this damage coming through. And right now, Bazinga's not carrying whatsoever. He's just cramming all this damage into it, and Maiden's going to be getting him quite low, but that's going to be a flash coming in from Azen. That's going to be killing him, but that's going to be 3 towers picked up for the side of Michigan. That's a lot of global gold over to them, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to really just kind of mount a resistance here.
They are at their base, so they're able to spend some of that gold that they gained.
Ooh, that's going to be
double towers.
Double flash coming in. The Timber is massive there, but Feng was going to be getting the pickup. Fifth Business is going to be getting the return kill on that, and that's just going to be them running through their entire squad. Wow, Fifth Business, does he go down here? He's going to be getting kind of low, but right now it's Palatine and Fifth Business alive, and that's going to be everyone dead on the side of Michigan. They're going to be
Zinga's going to be up here, but that might not be enough. They're putting a lot of damage into these towers. It might not be the Nexus, but it certainly is going to be some of these towers as well. Although we do have 3 people alive, that actually might be enough to pump and get this. Zinga just going down there, not being able to do quite enough damage. And that's going to be the Nexus, and that's 2 games on the side of Utah. The extra resistance is coming out of Chemtech Soul. Kind of coming into fruition here, getting a little extra resistances and some of that healing with your composition was certainly helpful as well.
So honestly, very, very well played by the side of Utah there. I think Low the Man was definitely a notable standout, doing a very, very good job. I think that Azen also really just got a lot of pressure across the map, was able to match a lot of these rotations, and able to put in a lot of work despite being by himself versus like 2 people. But it just, honestly, I think that was just a fairly dominant win from Utah.
Yeah, Utah certainly played a very well game. When they were behind, they were still able to play as if they were ahead, almost with just the lead that they had, just being able to get some of these kills, and just having a better team fight all around with their players. It didn't really necessarily matter which comp they had, both of these comps being fairly different from one another, but both of them winning with a pretty sizable gold lead. Over 9K at this point in the game 2, but in game 1, it was a 6K gold lead. They were able to close stuff out there as well. Use a lot of the mechanics, get some advantages there as well. Of course, it's going to be able to get you some objectives in the game.
All right. That's gonna be concluding our set between Michigan Blue and Utah State and Esports. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And we're going to be doing a little raid on over and Gordo right now, who's going to be casting Team Ambition. So I would like to before we go, I'd like to thank our production. Thank you very much, Taco, for being behind the scenes and doing a lot of work for us. And I would also like to thank Abba Trombone. Thank you very much for joining me today, casting.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
All right, I'm Vern Cast. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have fun watching Team Ambition.